What more can be found by the three-man panel set up by the President Muhammadu Buhari on the heels of the suspension of the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Babachir Lawal, on allegations of violations of the law and due process made against the SGF in the award of contracts under the Presidential Initiative on the Northeast, while the Senate investigates same in an ongoing probe of the SGF. Also pending the outcome of the investigation into the famous Ikoyi 13 by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, the EFCC, in a residential apartment in Osborne Towers, Ikoyi, Lagos State. The President has suspended the Director General of the NIA, Ayo. Okay, in a moment we'll be speaking to my panelists, my gentleman here. Tunde Kolawole is a legal practitioner, and Benga Onitilo is a policy analyst. We'll be talking to them in just a moment. Data feeds are still coming through in one place simultaneously on all our social media platforms, channelstv.com and on youtube.com/channelsweb. We're right now live on Facebook as well. Tweet at Gimba Omar CTV and use the hashtag State of the Nation to air your thoughts on the subject. Sadness over the tragic electrocution event that took place on the lives of several Nigerians at a football viewing center in Calabar, Cross River State. Unfortunately, so too, the President commiserates with the government and the people of Cross River State and football fans nationwide over the death of 30. One of the ringleaders behind the killing of an army officer and some policemen in Ikorodu has been shot dead by the policeman. The suspect, Endurance Ominison, aka Mighty, a native of Arobo in Ondo State, was arrested during an operation by the operatives of the Inspector General of Police Intelligence Response Team on April the 16th. The militant, however, died on Tuesday morning, April the 18th, at a hospital as a result of the injuries he sustained during a gunfight with the police. It's prime time in Lagos State, and this is State of the Nation. Welcome everyone in Nigeria and the rest of the world. I am Gimba Omar and this is State of the Nation. Right behind me, data feeds are still coming through in one place simultaneously on all our social media platforms. Be part of the show. Tweet at Gimba Omar CTV and use the hashtag State of the Nation to air your thoughts. Let's begin with the suspension of the SGF and the NIA boss. An investigative panel chaired by the Vice President with the AGF and the NSA has been set to investigate the allegations of misappropriation of funds meant for the Pine Initiative in the Northeast and the now popular Ikoyi 13, of course. The panel has 14 days to submit its report. I'm being joined on State of the Nation by Tunde Kolawole. He's a legal practitioner. I want to thank you so much indeed for coming, as well as Benga Onitilo. He's a policy analyst. Let's begin with you, Mr. Kolawole. What do you see coming out of an investigative panel such as this one set up with the Vice President to chair?
Well, let me quickly say that under our law, it is alarming. There could be two levels of investigation. One could be administrative. The one we are seeing today consists of the Vice President and then the National Security Advisor and one other person. Could be described to be an administrative investigation. The other one would be the one that could be done by the law enforcement agencies, those who have the power under the Constitution to really prosecute, like the police, the EFCC, the Special Fraud Unit of the Nigerian Police. So what has been set up now is allowed under our law. As regards what could come out of it, your guess is as good as my guess, in the sense that you will remember that not long before now, a similar investigation was directed to be conducted by Mr. President. In fact, the Attorney General of the Federation was asked to investigate whether Babachir has a case to answer regarding the allegations made against him at the Senate of the Federal Republic. And then the Attorney General of the Federation came out and said they were not given fair hearing. In a way, that submission was neither here nor there. It was like speaking in equivocation. Now he was speaking with his tongue in cheek. I suspect that is the reason why this matter has lingered for this long. If the Attorney General had been alive to his responsibilities, he would have made a clear-cut recommendations as regard what should have been done regarding Babachir Lawal, with the Attorney General still also part of this investigation panel, I would want to see the investigation would appear to me to be compromised. He ordinarily should not be part of the president's investigation. And even the vice president, he might believe he is part and parcel of the presidency, because the presidency is like a Siamese twins. You hardly can separate the two. I would have preferred that a neutral persons be allowed to handle, even if it is administrative. People, one way or the other, could be considered to be neutral, should be allowed to handle this investigation, and not the three-man panel set up by the president now. Mr.
Onitilo, you are already smiling to this whole unraveling scenario that we're looking at. But is credibility not a serious concern here, do you see, especially looking at this panel that is set up, and you've had the AGF at some point had a preliminary report about the SGF, and that was put aside, and you'd expect it at a time like this, he should not even be part of that investigation because some level of bias is already established. What do you make of that?
The key challenge I think we have is we've not been able to separate institutions that should be a stabilizing force for our democracy from the influence of the presidency, like it happens in the democracies that will follow after the United States of America. The Attorney General's office is under the control of the presidency, so also the Ministry of Justice. In those climes, you have a neutral independence of such institutions, so that it is not based on the body language or the auspices or control of the presidency that such things come to be. Like you rightly said, the administrative investigation that should go on. But like also we should understand that you are carrying out an investigation, an administrative investigation on an arm of the presidency. So now, how do we separate bias? How do you separate compromise? How do you separate trying to protect the presidency himself from what is going to come out of this investigation?
Is this panel dead on arrival?
Well, it's a bit not here and there. It's about optics, because of what has gone on prior to now about comments that have been made on this matter by the Attorney General of the Federation. Malami coming out to say one way or the other they've cleared and the Senate has not been fair, have not been a fair hearing. So this is where we have a problem that we need to allow institutions of government to be independent of the control of the presidency. If they are not fully autonomous, if they are not fully activated by what happens within the territories of Nigeria, not by the body language of the president, we are not going to have an headway in our fight against corruption.